Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Micro and Mol Bio with Dr. Sunita Bundale. In the previous lecture on pioneers of microbiology, we discussed Joseph Lister, Elie Meshnikov and Paul Eldridge and their contributions in the field of microbiology. In today's lecture, we will talk about Alexander Fleming, Martinus Beijerinck and Sergei Winogradsky. From the discovery of penicillin to the birth of microbial ecology, these scientists revealed the unseen power of microorganisms. So let us begin this journey of studying the adventures of these pioneers of microbiology.
Scottish biologist Alexander Fleming is widely regarded for his 1928 discovery of penicillin, a drug that is used to kill harmful bacteria. The discovery of penicillin has often been described as a miracle drug, and that is exactly what it was. Do you know the story of penicillin? Well, after a month-long vacation, Fleming was examining a culture of Staphylococcus aureus, a pathogenic bacterium on which he was doing his research, when he noticed that it had become contaminated by a mold. Although the species of the mold was unknown to Fleming then, he did observe that it was inhibiting the bacterial growth. Students, note the zone of inhibition around the mold colony. Subsequently, Fleming isolated an extract from the mold and he named it penicillin. Although his discovery was published, there was not a great deal of attention paid to his paper. Also, further attempts by Fleming to produce a concentrated extract of penicillin failed, and he himself was unable to prove that it had any therapeutic value and later doubted it himself. That Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin by chance is actually a myth. In fact, before discovering penicillin in 1921, Fleming discovered lysozyme and found that bacteria could be lysed and killed by it. Later, Dr. Howard Florey and Ernst Chain became interested in antibiotics when they came across Fleming's paper on penicillin. After a great deal of effort, enough of penicillin was produced and extracted to be successfully tested on mice, and later human trials were carried out successfully. By this time, that is, in 1941, it was now acknowledged that penicillin was indeed a worthwhile drug and could save thousands of lives. The antibiotic eventually came into use during World War II, revolutionizing battlefield medicine. Fleming had predicted that the use of penicillin would, in time, be of limited value because bacteria would eventually recombine genetically to resist the effects of penicillin. By as early as 1952, as much as 3/5 of all staphylococcal infections were penicillin resistant. Though Fleming discovered penicillin, it took Florey and Chain to make it a usable product. Hence, Fleming, Florey and Chain, all three of them, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1945 for the discovery of penicillin. Martinus Beijerinck was born on March 16, 1851 in Amsterdam and was originally trained as a botanist and began his work studying the microorganisms that were present in and around plants. He soon began experiments with microbes in the soil. His greatest contribution to the field of microbiology was the development of enrichment media. Beijerinck discovered that by adding or removing certain compounds from the medium or incubating under different conditions, it was possible to favor the growth of certain microbes and prevent the growth of others. An example is Beijerinck's work with nitrogen fixing bacteria, which are important in agriculture and in the global cycling of nitrogen. In 1888, he isolated the bacterium Bacillus radicicola, later classified as a type of rhizobium, which lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants. Beijerinck also wanted to isolate an organism capable of fixing nitrogen in the presence of air because all previous isolates fixed nitrogen only under anaerobic conditions. He succeeded in isolating a new microbe, Azotobacter crucocum, an aerobic nitrogen fixing bacteria. Similar selective culture techniques also enabled his lab to isolate sulfur reducing and sulfur oxidizing bacteria, lactobacillus species, green algae, and many other microbes. Beijerinck also played a major role in the discovery of viruses. He worked on tobacco mosaic disease, and through a series of experiments, he developed the concept of filterable agents. Beijerinck believed this agent to be a fluid and he called it contagium vivum fluidum, which means contagious living fluid. Later, this liquid was renamed virus for the Latin word poison. Yet another scientist who was drawn to microbiology because he was impressed by the incomparable glitter of Pasteur's discoveries was Sergei Winogradsky. The role of microbial ecosystems in bioremediation and agriculture has renewed the interest of the microbiologists in the work of Winogradsky. Sergei Winogradsky was interested in soil bacteria, and when working with Beggiatoa, a sulfur oxidizing bacteria, he discovered that it obtained its cell's carbon from carbon dioxide. He used the term autotrophy to describe this particular property, a radical idea at that time and one not readily accepted by other microbiologists. This led Winogradsky to propose the concept of chemoautotrophy, bacteria capable of growth using purely inorganic compounds of carbon and energy. He was one of the first scientists to isolate the pure cultures of nitrifying bacteria and to confirm that they carried out the separate steps of conversion of ammonia to nitrite and of nitrite to nitrate. This led directly to the concept of the biogeochemical cycles of nitrogen and sulfur in nature and emphasized the fact that these microbes were essential for the cycling of nutrients in the environment and the living world was dependent upon their activities. Working in the late decades of the 19th century, he was also a pioneer in selective enrichment techniques for the isolation of bacteria. Yet another technique employed by Winogradsky to isolate organisms from nature was a miniature model pond cross-section which has since been called a Winogradsky column. Sergei Winogradsky was also one of the first scientists to study biofilms. He promoted the idea of viewing the soil not as a mass of dead organic and inorganic debris, but as a living environment as a collective entity that possessed the characteristic functions of a living organism. He viewed the soil as an entity that respired, transformed organic and inorganic molecules, and kept the components of the soil in a dynamically healthy balance, and hence is rightly called the founder of soil microbiology.